All right, race fans, welcome to round 9 of Flattrack Canada here in London at the Western Fair District. Now we got a wicked looking track here today. High bank corners, huge grandstand. We're really hoping to see this place pack up here tonight. We're going to keep on top of all of our pro riders, intermediate riders, give you the best coverage that we possibly can. And the Outlaw Productions film crew always doing an amazing job. Okay, so caught him wandering around the track here. I think he's just trying to get a couple lines set up for tonight's features underneath the lights at 7 o'clock. But Dougie Lawrence, you've had a little bit of a busy adventure going on for you the last couple of weeks. Why don't you tell us a little bit about this?
Yeah, that's right. I've been traveling a lot, doing a lot of driving, and I went to 5 races out west. It was, started in Washington, Sacramento, California, back up to Washington, Sturgis, South Dakota, and then Indianapolis, Indiana. And so it's good to be 2 hours away from home. Slept in my own bed last night.
So one of the things we've noticed here at the Western Fair District Racetrack, it's got a high banking corner. So for anyone that's watching this and kind of doesn't really understand flat track, how is it that you approach a track that's not necessarily flat and starts to carry a little bit of a bank to it?
Well, it's good. It's obviously good for the fans because the racers can use more of the racetrack. I mean, people will call this something like a bowl. I mean, obviously this place has pretty high banks. It's not like a car track, but a lot more than a Woodstock or Belleville or Paris, which means you can ride wider. You don't need to stick right to the bottom. You can move up the racetrack and try and carry a little bit more momentum.
Well, with everything that's been going on, we've been seeing Don Taylor and Tyler Seguin obviously battling it out for that top spot. So you kind of coming in here wildcard today just to shake things up?
That's the plan. There is a race down south in Virginia, but like I say, I miss this place. I got goosebumps when I pulled in here. This place has been pretty good to me when I was younger. So that's a plan. I mean, really no expectations. Just do the things that I want to do, and if I can do those things, I mean, my goal will be in my hands. I'll be able to do that extra lap that nobody else gets to do. So that is the plan. But those guys are kind of ruling the roost right now. I can't lie, I've definitely been checking up on the boys when I was out west and whenever I had Wi-Fi. But yeah, like I say, I mean, if I can do the things that I can do and I want to do, it'll be right there for me.
Right on. Okay, well, we'll probably strap a GoPro on this guy later on for one of the features, so keep an eye out for that number 73, Doug Lawrence. Guys, down in the pits here in London, obviously walking around, we ran into the number 49, Brody Buchan, with the race team, the Buchan race team. Now, Scott, being team manager, team owner, you know, helping your son race, how's this been for an experience for you, being a father?
It's a little bit different. I mean, I've done this my whole life. I rode professionally when I was younger, and then never thought that my son would get into it, but he found the itch, and it's kind of the same, except for now I have to watch and figure out what to do to the bikes and, you know, take my experience and probably try to switch it over to how he rides. And so, yeah, it's quite a bit different, but it's still fun.
What is one of the key things that you notice? I mean, obviously going through the season, Brody had a little bit of an upset at the start of the season, breaking his wrist, but he's making a strong comeback. He's riding really consistent, staying up in the top 3 spots almost every single race that we've seen him at since then. I mean, how do you feel he's doing this season?
He's doing great this season. You know, we started off last year. We went from novice, rode a couple races, bumped right up to intermediate, and then he goes out and wins the first race. And, you know, he was rolling along really good, had a lot of confidence. And then we had that little mishap at Paris on the short track. And, you know, it's such a small track, and guys are battling and banging, you know, and it's just one of those racing deals. But, yeah, he came back, and he was off quite a bit. I think he came back a little early. You know, not really my decision. I kind of let him do whatever he wants, and but he's getting his mojo back now. He's got another win from Woodstock, and so he's back to where he was.
So, do you feel within the next year or two you see Brody turn pro?
It's a big jump going from intermediate to pro. He's got the speed. He doesn't have the experience yet. Experience just racing with, You know, in intermediate, you'll have 3 or 4 guys that are battling it out, like we had at Woodstock. But in the expert class, you got like 6, 7, 8, 10 guys battling it out. The track's not very big for that many bikes. So he's just turned 16, and it's real expensive to move to the pro class. You got to have tires on your bike every time. You can't use old tires. Motors have to be fast. It's just, I think for right now, we're going to let him finish this season. Definitely hit it hard for intermediate next year, and maybe see if we can get the championship in intermediate, and then just go from there and see how it goes.
Okay, well, we'll get to some more team talk later on in the season, but as you can see right here, these 2 bikes looking real fast today. Okay, everyone, walking around the pits down here in London, ran into Kenny Reedman, the number 42, riding this wicked-looking little Kawasaki machine. Had a wicked season on your sport bike in the CSBK. What got you coming out here to Flattrack today?
Well, I found out that Jody was going to be racing, and you know, it's just a really nice way to finish off the season after racing the Nationals all year long. Just wrapped up the championship last weekend. We both got a number 1 plate, so that's pretty sweet, and figured, what the hell, might as well go out and race some motorcycles on some dirt.
You guys couldn't get enough of each other on the pavement, so you had to bring it to the dirt, right? So you ran at Paris last night. Tell us a little bit about your experience running at Paris in a good little class, a good group.
Oh, it's you know, just a great group of people. Like, everyone's always having fun, great racing. It's a really fun atmosphere. I'm obviously slow on a flat track bike. I don't have too much experience on it. I'm hopefully getting better. No, just absolutely a great experience. Everyone's just smiles the whole time, and it's a lot cheaper than road racing too. Like, if your tire's getting a little worn out, you take a razor blade or a tire cutter and you just keep cutting it. You don't got to put new rubber on it. So that's pretty cool.
So it's a little bit cheaper, obviously, in the books there too. So everyone, keep an eye out for Kenny Reedman running out there in the production frame and open novice classes here today. All right, so we got another superbike racer out here today. We got Jody Chris, the number 1 plate from the CSBK, the superbike. Jody, tell us a little bit about that season for you.
Overall, we had a great season in CSBK. Superbike went well. We came away with that championship, and it was a good year. We had 2 wins and, you know, a good effort all year long, and managed to come away at Mosport with a 2nd place and a 1st place to bring home the championship.
So now, you got out to Paris last night to try flat track. I mean, we've been trying to get you to come out all year. What do you think of this?
I loved it. Last night was cool. You know, it was a big eye-opener because I've never done it before. But as soon as I got comfortable, like, end of the night, I was feeling great. You know, stepping it out sideways to the point of where you think you're going to crash, but that's the perfect point, and you just ride it out on the throttle. So it was awesome. You know, I really enjoyed last night, and everybody was super welcoming, and it was a really friendly environment.
So your thoughts on, I mean, going from an 8th mile track at Paris out to a half-mile track here in London today, are you really looking forward to getting back into that comfortable zone of speed?
Yeah, I'm just hoping that I can get there a little faster tonight with some practice laps. Last night there was 2 laps and then you were in a heat, so it was much different yesterday. Today I think will be much better with some practice. The higher speeds will probably do us road racers a little bit better, and I'll be back in my leathers again, so that's put me right at home.
Right on. Well, Jody Christie running the number 20 out here today in the production frame and open novice classes. And finally, as the heat races get underway and we get underneath the lights, we're going to come right back after this quick commercial break and jump right into the action. Welcome back, race fans, for the production frame intermediate race here at the Western Fair District here in London, Ontario. Now you can see a lot of the familiar faces throughout the class here. You had Shane Corbeil, Dustin Lambert, William Bellarose, Josh Dolan, Dave Poulette, Brandon Valley, and Brody Buchan on the back line there with Alex Olson. And we're going to be hopping on board with Brody as we go through this race. Also with Dave, because we've been noticing these two have been battling it out through practice. The heat races didn't go so well for Brody. Stalled on both times, but I don't think it's going to be bugging him too much as he starts in the back. But this race is already underway. Shane Corbeil jumping out to an early lead. Dave Poulette is hard on the gas on the outside. He's going to be trying to make his way around Corbeil. As he does get around him on the backstretch, you can see all these guys coming down, heading towards PJ in the back corner. And everyone's starting to pitch it into the corner there. Valley making a move up on Corbeil, but it's Buchan that's making a move on the outside around everybody. And he's going to try and close up that gap on Poulette as they make their way around for the first lap here. So after one lap, our running order is Poulette, Buchan, and Valley. These guys, single file line, starting to gap out a little bit for the rest of the pack there. I believe it was Shane Corbeil, Josh Dolan, William Bellarose, Dustin Lambert. They're kind of a little pack of themselves. They're going to be battling it out for that 4 spot right now. Olson's just hanging out back, kind of just probably checking out, see what's going on. But we got Bellarose making a move up on the outside of Corbeil here as they head back into quarter 1. And this probably could get pretty interesting. Olson, he's starting to fall off pace a little bit there, but he's not too far off. I mean, it's still possible for him to just hang in there and just wait and see what happens with the rest of the pack as they start thinning out. Josh Dolan trying to make some moves on Corbeil. Dolan normally runs up well and does really strong there, so it's going to be interesting to see how he does on the 5/8 track here today in London. And yes, it is a 5/8 track. We needed to correct ourselves on that. We thought it was a half mile all day long. We've been saying it all day long, but it is a 5/8 mile track. So we're going to go back up and check out what's going on with our top 3 here. Braden Valley. He's running a comfortable third spot, but it's Buchan that's hunting down Poulette here. He's looking for that number 1 spot to make up for those 2 heat race stalls, which put him back on the line for not only this class, but in the open class as well. So we'll be keeping a close eye on this. As you can see, Dustin Lambert making his way around Bellarose. And things are going to start getting interesting. As we can see, Buchan, he's just got his sights set, a big, huge target on the back of Poulette. So we're going to have to jump on board and check out some of that GoPro footage as we get further into this race. But Dustin goes around Corbeil, and he takes that 4 spot away from Corbeil. So we're going to be watching these guys battling it out too, because it just seems to be that the 4th position right now is up for grabs by the rest of the pack here, as Valley's got a comfortable lead. He's probably about an 1/8 of the track ahead of those guys as well too. Doesn't really have too much to worry about, but let's pay some close attention here.
Championship content. Oh, rider down. The hay will break contact. The riders will.
And as Frank Woods, our CSBK announcer who comes over here and gives us a hand with all the announcing for Flattrack Canada, he just announced that there was a rider down. That was the number 72 of Josh Dolan. We're trying to keep an eye out for him here and find him. He slid out into the bales, but he's up and he's okay. He's just getting back to his bike and slowly going to be making his way off the track here in a couple minutes time, as these guys are still flying around the track. So we're trying to be as safe as possible, but it's pretty clear that there is a rider down. They'll throw up a caution. If it's too dangerous, they'll throw up a red flag, but it seems to be okay. And Josh has made his way around, and he's going back into the pits there. It's glad to see that he's okay. It's pretty common that you can wipe out in flat track racing and still be okay, although the risk of the high speeds can get a little bit sketchy sometimes. We all know that it more than likely you're going to just be sliding out and just going for a little spill, nothing too dangerous. These guys all wear full leathers, all the proper racing equipment. It's what keeps everyone safe these days. So back to the racing here. You can see Dustin Lambert, he's putting on a hard charge, trying to get ahead. And Poulette, he's getting a little loose, getting real close to those hay bales. Don't know how comfortable that is, but it's given the door a little bit of a gap there for Brody Buchan to slide on up and try and make a move for that top spot. There's probably going to be a battle going on here shortly between the two top riders, and we are going to be following all this action. They make their way back down the front straightaway again. Buchan seems to have fallen back just a little bit. Don't know if this is a strategy or not, but just kind of maybe making a little bit of a comfortable gap, and only probably poking his nose up there to just show him he can make a charge, which it seems he's doing right now. We're on board with Poulette here. Back to Buchan. Buchan slides it right up to Poulette. Holy, gets super close. Doesn't even touch him, but it seems to throw Poulette off just a little bit. As they head back down the front straightaway here, you can see that he's got some serious pull on that bike. And this race just got a whole lot more interesting as we come down to our final lap, actually coming up here shortly. We're going to be keeping a close eye on seeing what's going on here, but if Poulette's got anything left in the gas tank, he's got to do it now. He's got to pull out all the stops to try and close that gap back up on Buchan, because Buchan seems to have this track dialed right now as he comes off that corner ever so smooth. Getting in his little draft, little talk Poulette. You can see he's pushing, and it is the final lap here for the production frame intermediate class. Buchan, all he's got to do is just hold on and hold that inside line, do a little bit of blocking, and he'll be taking home the checkered flag. And that's a huge comeback considering that he stalled in both of his heat races today, having to start on the back line, and it's going to come all down to this. So let's just pay close attention as we come down to our final corner. And it's Brody Buchan taking the win here in the production frame intermediate class, followed by Dave Poulette, and it looks like Braden Bally screaming by there. Great to see a win by Brody today, especially after doing a team talk with him. So he's going to take his dad out for a parade lap, but we're going to take a quick commercial break. Be right back for the DTX experts. Welcome back, race fans, and it's time for our production frame expert class here. We got an onboard camera backwards with Tyler Seguin. We got a camera on a chest mount on Don Taylor facing forwards. We're going to give you a couple of different perspectives. As you can see, Nick going across the line here, getting that sweet shot. Caitlin giving the lap count out to everybody else here. And it's Brandon Seguin. We've also got another GoPro on here. So we've got 3 GoPros in the mix here, so hopefully he catches all the action. We're going to stay on board with him as we head into our first corner at the first lap here in the production frame expert class. And you can see out to an early lead on the inside was Nick Wensler. Wensler slides it out. Don Taylor on the outside, Seguin on the inside here, and they're going to be firing down this back straight. The rest of the pack following close, and you can see Seguin, he gets a little loose too. We're going to go back and take an instant replay look at that. As you can see, Tyler ahead of him. Tyler slides down the track. Don quickly adjusts to get out of the way and make a fast pass as he goes by. And it looks like Wensler up on the top of the outside of the track there. He comes screaming by Seguin and makes a move on Seguin, gets ahead of him, but I don't think Tyler's going to be allowing that to happen for too much longer here. It looks like Fast Fetty Dejanot sitting in 4th place there. We can see Brandon near the back of the pack there, running third last, I think it is, and holding his own back there. Wensler just running that outside line. Tyler Seguin still hanging in there, 3rd spot, but it's Don's show right now as he is out front. Nice comfortable little gap in the lead there, and he's probably not going to be pushing it too hard, but on board here you can see he's just screaming along. Getting back on that back wheel, you can see every once in a while too that front wheel will come up. They're just trying to put as much traction on the back wheel as they can to get that drive out of the corner, head and set it up for the next corner. You can see Rick Gumby and Sean Hoy here. They're battling it out for the last spot, and Gumby, he is probably our oldest member in the whole racing community. Great guy to have around, good for a laugh, and he'll tell you all about flat track racing, as Gumby's been in this for a very, very long time. But back to the front of the pack here, it is still Don Taylor, Nick Wenzler, and Tyler Seguin rounding out our top 3 spots. Fast Freddy Dejanot sitting in 4th, but it seems that Seguin's getting a little bit of drive up on the middle to the outside of the racetrack here. Although it is a high banking corner, it doesn't seem like it when you're looking through the perspective of the GoPros here. But trust me, these corners are they've got a little bit of a bank going to it, but it's not as much as you would expect it to be. But the slightest bit of banking will help keep the bike on the inside of the track, as you can just hold the throttle wide open. Seguin on the outside there, making the exit on corner 2, and he's going to be doing everything he can to reel in Wenzler right now. It is very important for points, and we can see Brandon Seguin holding his own near the back of the pack there, but now everyone else is not too far off. Easily you can make one small mistake and these guys can catch up right away. Seguin, Tyler Seguin up front, Brandon Seguin, he's just heading by right about now on the front straightaway. But the whole battle, the best battle going on right now is between Wenzler and Tyler Seguin, and it's going to be really close to see what happens here, because Fast Freddy Dejanot, he seems to be catching up just a little bit as well too to these guys. So these guys getting not too far off. Wenzler getting a little loose on the exit of corner 4 there. You can see he had to check up a little bit, and Seguin goes by. Our camera going backwards, as you can see in the bottom left corner there on the back of Tyler Seguin's bike. You can see Wenzler just missing him as he makes that exit out of corner 4. So now Don has a huge bullseye on his back coming from Tyler Seguin, because Tyler's going to be charging hard. Now that he knows that Wenzler is nowhere around him, he can run as wide as he wants on this racetrack. He can use every inch of it that he needs to, as he desperately tries to catch up to Don. Fast Freddy working the inside line. You can see Wenzler still going way up high. These guys must be cutting their tires up pretty good, getting some serious traction on the outside. You are rolling the dice a little bit when you're playing up that high near the hay bales, and trust me, we all know this. Don Taylor still holding on to a commanding lead. Seguin seems to be catching up a little bit as he's gapped out over Wenzler. Fast Freddy Dejanot, and he's trying to catch up, make up for that 3rd spot over Wenzler. So we might have 2 small battles going on here, and we're going to be keeping a close eye on it as best as we can between all the cameras that we have here for Outlaw Productions. The Outlaw Productions crew are always doing a great job bringing you a great web series, and we're just trying to be as prompt as possible with getting everything back to you. But with all this extra camera footage, we have a lot to go through, a lot of work to do. But you can see Don Taylor still carrying his pace around the track here over Tyler Seguin. We're cutting it close, getting down to our final laps here. I believe we're going to have one more lap to go after this one. Don getting a little sideways on that one. Small mistake that might cost him here, as Tyler Seguin's going to push it hard on the outside. Wenzler and Fast Freddy Dejanot, they're battling it out for that 3rd spot. So Tyler getting that drive on the outside line here. This all could come down to the final corner here in the production frame expert class, and it looks like it is going to come down to this, because you can see Tyler on the outside. He's pushing it hard. He's going to get a drive and cut down to the inside over Don. Don taking a look behind him over his shoulder there, getting in his full tuck. Tyler doing everything he can, but it's not going to be enough as Don Taylor takes the #1 spot. And coming across there, the 3rd spot is going to be Nick Wenzler and Fast Freddy Dejanot following close behind. We're going to take a quick little ride here with Don Taylor as he gets his checkered flag and heads around the track. We'll take a quick commercial break as well, and we'll be right back with all the action of the Open Intermediate Racing here at the Western Fair District in London. Okay, folks, with 2 races down, we got 2 races to go, and it's the best 2 races of the night as we got our open and intermediate class up first. You can see William Belarus there. He's housing one of our GoPro chest mounts, and we get a couple of riders out here on their framers. They switched over from the DTX bikes. The framers are built for this kind of racing, and when you get the open class, a lot of these guys will switch over to them, so we're going to keep a close eye on everyone on these framers. But it seems like Brody is still he's still got to run his DTX bike. I don't believe he has a framer yet, but you can see Corbeil beside him. He's sitting on his fresh new framer, looking good. And we got 10 laps, folks. Caitlin Hesmer walking down the line here, getting everybody ready to go. Sardo up in the bird's eye view box here at the Western Fair District, getting the best shots. Mike Zalaska pointing at the lights, getting them ready to go, and they are off already. And heading into the first corner, it is Brandon Valley, who's got that small hole shot, but it's William Belarus, our other rider with the GoPro on. And you can see in the bottom right corner there, as you can see his view of what everything looks like. And Dave Poulette making a move down on the inside. These two, the first two running 1-2, they're both from Quebec. Both these riders make a long journey to come down here. We really appreciate all the help that they do supporting the Flattrack Canada Series, and we really hope that they bring more riders down with them. But you can see Buchan, he's moved up from the back lines here. He's cutting down on the inside of Belarus, and he's got that target set back up on Poulette's back because he knows he can beat him. He just did it not too long ago in our production frame, our production frame intermediate race. And Belarus is he's getting a little bit loose out there on the outside. Valley's going to take over there that third spot if any more small mistakes come from Belarus, and we're going to keep a close eye on that as well too. Other of our riders, you can see they're getting a little bit sketchy there, bumping around the tracks. It's dried up a little bit, but it's making up for a couple of slick spots out there. Not a full blue groove going on yet, but a little bit more traction coming down. As you can see in the exit of corner 4 there, it is starting to turn into a little bit of a blue groove. Buchan, he's going hard for the charge for first place here as he makes a move on the inside of Poulette. Poulette gets out loose to the outside, and Buchan's by him clean. But it's Poulette that get the drive down the front straightaway here. He's got lots of power on that open framer bike, but at Buchan, he's going to the outside too. You can see Poulette sliding up the track there. Buchan makes short work of that. He gets around him. I think if Buchan knows what he's got to do right now is he's got to make a hard charge, get a sweet line coming out of the corner there, get a good drive out to get far enough ahead of Poulette so he doesn't even have to worry about him coming down on him on the front or the back straightaway. Because he seems to where he makes all the ground up on him is on the straightaways, but Buchan, he pulls definitely a lot harder going in and out of the corners. And Mike Zalaska giving the halfway flags to our leaders of the race here. You can see there is already a gap forming in between them and third spot, which is William Belarus and Brandon Valley. As they battle it out for that third spot, it's going to be coming down close to points for the season. I believe Valley has a comfortable lead because of Buchan's crash at the start of the season. It gave him the chance to make up a lot of serious points over Buchan, and might just actually help him out with the championship towards the end of the season. Valley's battling out Belarus. It seems that he's got also a strong pull on the front straightaways here over the DTX bike as Belarus is riding his open framer as well too. But Buchan's starting to make a little bit of a big gap over Poulette here, and I believe that's all it's going to be. But our battle for third is also heating up as well too. You can see Buchan making a nice smooth exit out of corner 4. And I don't think there's going to be much left of Poulette to reel him back in here. As you can see, he's slowly falling off the pace, but it's that battle for third that seems to be all the interest right now. Valley's doing everything he can to hold him off, and hopefully he's going to make up those points. Mike Zalaska giving the 2 laps to go to our leaders. And the rest of the pack coming in slowly into the picture. You can see those guys are going into the corner for the battle for third. And the battle for first is already on the way down the exit and back straightaway of our track here today. A wonderful track. Great to have the Western Fair District help out Flattrack Canada by hosting an event here. And is really appreciated. But we got Bucket coming down for a white flag. And it's one more lap to go. As long as he runs a smooth, clean line, there's not going to be any problems here. And he's going to be coming around for a double-up win here at London. And that's going to help some points with him as well, too. As it should get him back up into the top 3 before the end of the season, as long as he's consistent for the rest of the season. And coming out of corner 4 here, the last time around here in London for Brody Bucket until next year as he takes the checkered flag. Boulette in second, and in the battle for third, it's all coming down to this. And it looks like Valley is going to take third, so pretty much the exact same order as before. We're going to send it to PJ in the back as he gets Buckin, both the Buckins coming around the track here, getting that pass by with the checkered flags, well deserved. And we're going to go to a quick commercial break and be right back. Okay, it is time for the final event of the evening. As you can see, the open class, expert class has already begun. The riders have taken their hot lap. You got Don Taylor on the number 53 machine on his Harley there. He's wearing a GoPro. The number 26 machine of Steve Beatty, that's a KBR prepped bike. I believe it was a 450. John Parker on his Kawasaki, the number 11. John running strong all year, doing a great job. He usually runs the vet class, but it seems tonight he's going to come out and play with the experts. Chris Evans on the number 15 on his Harley Davidson. A great bike, great rider. He's been around for many years, knows the London track very well. The number 73 machine of Doug Lawrence, the Town Moto rider representative. He goes down for the AMA Nationals, represents the Canadians very, very well. Brandon Seguin on the number 19. And then in the back row, we have Tyler Seguin on the 22, the number 98 P of Devin Pfeiffer, and 29 of Nick Wensler, and Fast Freddy Dejeneaux on the inside of the back row there. And we're going to get this underway here. As we can see, Caitlin's just lining up all the front wheels of the bikes, just making sure everyone's got an even playing field here before they send them out. Now, and not too long here, as Caitlin's going to come back down with all the laps. Riders are looking at the lights. They are off and heading into that first corner. You can see Chris Evans, John Parker, Don Taylor, Doug Lawrence way on the inside, and these guys are already battling it out. Steve Beatty up on the outside there. He's making a line quick to tuck in behind Don Taylor, as everyone is close heading into this the first back straightaway to the back corner. And it's Don Taylor, Steve Beatty. Looks like Doug Lawrence up on the outside of there, the outside of John Parker. John Parker doing a really great job riding out with all these young lads. And we got Doug Lawrence's GoPro on the back of his bike right now. You can see John Parker making his way around the track. These guys are reaching up on some crazy speeds. These bikes got a lot of power. A couple of 750s out there, a couple of 450s, one DTX bike, I believe that is out there. And we're going to be keeping a close eye on this, and we're going to be switching around to all the GoPro shots that we can to catch all the action of this. You can see Mike Zalaska holding up his fingers there, counting all the laps down. Riders heading out for their third lap here, and it is Don Taylor, Steve Beatty, and Doug Lawrence running out our top 3 as they seem to be pulling away from the rest of the pack. John Parker, Chris Evans, and Tyler Seguin behind Evans there. He's got to get around him to make up for some points as well too. But that seems to be the battle for 4th, 5th, as Parker is just slightly ahead of them. He could get sucked back into that group very quickly, and we can see a whole bunch of changes before this race even comes close to over. But you can see Steve Beatty, he's nipping on the heels of Don Taylor. Doug Lawrence is just kind of hanging back there watching, seeing what's going on. John Parker seems to have gapped out over the rest of the pack there. And Don Taylor, he's getting passed by Steve Beatty here. Steve Beatty takes him in the straightaway. Don's going to try and stuff it back down on the inside, but it doesn't seem to be enough. Steve starts to take off and make a run on that lead to the checkered flags, but you can see him coming out of the back corner here, corner 2. And Don, he's got some serious power in that bike, but it's Steve holding the consistent amount of throttle on that corner on the outside line with a smaller motor, lighter bike. It's definitely helping him in the long run here, as Don's going to muscle his way around with that Harley. You can see Don going out a little bit wider, bringing it back down on the inside of the track here, trying to make a good drive out of the corners to catch up to Steve. Steve seems to be making up all of his time in the corners because of the straightaways just being a little bit too long for his bike, but he's making it work. And Doug Lawrence, he's hanging back there too, and I don't think he's going to be letting him get too far away ahead. He's going to probably put some hard laps down here shortly, as we're probably catching up close to our halfway mark here in the open expert class, and the battles that are going on back and further in the pack are heating up too. You got Chris Evans and Tyler Seguin, John Parker and Fast Freddy Dejanot. Parker, he's slid back a couple of spots, but this is what it seems to all come down to. And Brandon Seguin and Nick Wensler, they're rounding out the back as well too. You see Beatty's just holding a consistent line, doing the same thing over and over again, doing a great job. Doug Lawrence is making his moves up as he starts to catch up. Devin Pfeiffer is he's running pretty far back. That is about almost half a track's length. These guys are probably going to catch up to him as we get closer to the end of this race. That could make things interesting because these guys are going to have to go around the left riders, which, I mean, in any case, if you got traffic in front of you, it's definitely going to throw off your lines, and it's going to allow for some positions to be switched here. As you can see, Doug Lawrence, he's definitely closed the gap up on Don Taylor. He's probably going to be making a move up on him shortly here within the next lap or two. Oh, Doug's getting a little bit loose in the back there. He's losing a little bit of time. Steve Beatty and Don Taylor, it's just mimicking each other, just doing the exact same thing. Doug, he's pushing it definitely a little bit hard. You can see he's driving it into the corner a little bit later and staying on the throttle as much as he possibly can as he's catching up to Don Taylor here. He's going to probably make a pass up here on the inside. But it's this battle for third that's heating up too, and even fourth. As you can see all these guys. We're going to go to the back camera of Fast Freddy Dejanot, but there are leaders coming out of the corner there. Number 26 of Steve Beatty, 53 Don Taylor, and 73 of Doug Lawrence. Fast Freddy looking great. He's just having a good little battle here with John Parker. You can see they were getting a little close earlier on, but I believe Doug Lawrence, he's making a move by Don Taylor. You can see the rear view camera. He goes by him, gets in that tuck, and he's already off. He's got his sights set on Steve Beatty's, so he's got a little bit of work to do, as we only got a couple laps left here for our final in the Open Expert here in London. He's going to definitely have to push himself hard to catch up to Steve Beatty, who's been riding consistently awesome all day long. He's got a little bit smaller of a bike. Doug's got a little bit bigger of a bike, so it's probably going to help him catch up in the long run here. But we're going to keep a close eye on this, as this can get very, very interesting as we come down to 2 laps to go as these riders come by. Doug definitely making up some serious time. As you can see, he's caught up to Steve. He has one more lap to go when they come around here, and they're definitely going to be pushing it as hard as they can. And that's that lap rider that we talked about earlier. They're catching up, and this is going to really spice things up here and make things interesting. Chris Evans finally just coming on the back straight there for the 4th position. He's going to hold his own, so Steve Beatty's going down to the inside of the lap rider. Doug tries to stuff it right down to the inside, but it seems that Doug's lost his balance, and oh no, our lap rider has collided into him. Don, he just makes it by too. You can see in the bottom right corner, that is Doug's camera. Doug slides it out, and you can see the bike and everything takes a tumble. Both the riders are up though. That's great to see that at least they are up and they are walking around. The red flag is going to be thrown. There's 2 bikes on the track, 2 riders still on the track, and you can see on Don's camera there, he's going to take second here today behind Steve Beatty as they threw the red flag. So Steve Beatty's going to go out for his victory lap with his brother and his son. That bike is full up. Definitely the little engine that could, that one of those KBR motors. Great built motors and awesome looking bikes. as always, but we're going to go headed down to the winner's circle here. We're going to catch up with our winners here today in London. Okay, taking that second spot here in London today is Don Taylor, the number 53, riding the sick-looking Harley, obviously. Had a great race at the start there. Everyone kind of shuffling positions. Tell us a little bit about what happened.
Yeah, I started off great, and for one, this type of track, I've always struggled on a, skinny little notch groove like this. It's been a while since I've ridden one, to be honest, and I started out great, and I just was putting in some solid laps, and the track shaped up, and I knew there was pressure from somebody. I kept slipping off the edge of the groove a little bit, and when it gets like that, the smallest little slip up, you lose so much time. So Beatty got up in front of me, and I just kind of sat back for a few laps and just was kind of going to school on him, just watching him, what he was doing, and trying to map out a line. And he rode absolutely flawless. I mean, didn't give me any room, and I had a few good drives, and it's just there's not a lot of racetrack we're using out there. So I just started making mistakes afterwards, and trying to figure out a way to get around him. And Lawrence popped in underneath me, but I'm happy with the second place. Unfortunate for what happened to Doug, but that's all part of racing, and he was going for the win, so we see that all the time.
Yeah, tell us a little bit about that. We noticed Dougie went down. He got hit into by another rider. From your perspective, what did you see?
Well, Lawrence, it was his last lap, and he was going for the win, plain and simple. I watched him come up the front straightaway and pull up the inside, and on a track like this, that's a really risky move to make. We're all shooting for the same 2 feet, and actually the last time we were here, I did the same thing to Doug, and I knocked him down. It happens on places like this. It's a matter of how aggressive you want to get, and Dougie wanted that win. I mean, it was clear he was going for it, and it's too bad.
Right now, well, we're looking forward to that GoPro footage again when we do a highlight reel later on in the season. So that is our second place finisher here today, the number 53, Don Taylor. All right, everybody, that's going to do it here for the Open Expert in London for round 9 of Flattrack Canada. And I'm standing here with the number 26, Steve Beatty. Steve, tell us about that race. It was a little bit hectic, a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah, actually, not really till the last lap. Donnie got a good start, and I knew he was going to use the horsepower to his advantage and kind of try to get away from me. But I was actually surprised that they didn't drag the track before our final and give him something a little bit more to work with. So in that respect, for for me and being on a little bike, it was perfect. So I was smiling as soon as they dropped the flag. Had to do a little bit of work on Donnie, and I knew I could get by him, and I figured I'd try to use him. And I knew Dougie Lawrence would be coming hot, so I just tried to get some gap going, and then I started having just a couple little issues with this bike that wasn't letting me get into the corner as hard as I wanted to. You know what? It all worked out in the end, and I got the checkered flag. So thanks, Kurt Beeger. Thanks, Doug Beatty, for letting me ride his bike. Thanks for London for letting me win.
Okay, fans, that's going to do it for us here today in London. Awesome day of racing. Everyone had a great time. No serious injuries, which is always a great thing to see. So many people walking away. A couple of close calls, but hey, we're looking forward to the Paris Short Track Fair next weekend. If you're not doing anything, be sure to come on out and check it out. Always looking for new riders, new fans, and lots of new people to get interested into the sport. So that's going to do it for me today. Have a good one.